And welcome to Reading Challenge Friday, and today, like I said last Friday, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, bit of a compare contrast between the movie and the book Under the Skin. The book is Naturally by Michael Faber, I think that's how you say it, Michel Faber, it's French I think, and I'm not up on French pronunciation, so I apologise if that's wrong. And the movie by Jonathan Glazer. The movie was released in 2013. I finally got round to watching it at the beginning of this year on Netflix, and I had problems with it. It was supposed to be this meditative, consciousness-bending, sort of weird sci-fi movie, which is right up my alley, and it's nothing like that. If you haven't seen the movie or read the book, stop now, because this is going to be spoilery, because for the purposes of compare contrast it kind of needs to be. In the movie, the female has no name. She's this alien creature that's come down to hunt men for food for her home planet, and she's discovered herself and she's going to have some personhood, yay, but no, instead she gets captured and almost raped by a trucker who then kills her after he accidentally sort of knocks off her human suit a little bit and sees the alien beneath. He basically sets her on fire. And yeah, that's a kind of wholesome version of the woman discovering herself, isn't it? It's kind of like woman discovers herself, gets hideously punished for it. Have we seen this story before? I think we have, about 1,000,000 times. On to the book. In the book, her name is Isserley, and the people of her planet are four-legged and they are furred. So in order to come down here, she has had to have this hideous mutilating surgery. And the reason she's chosen to have surgery is that on her planet, she was considered beautiful, but she was from the wrong background. So she was promised that she would be amongst the elite by other members of the elite. And then that promise was broken, and she was taken down to the oxygen pools in the sort of basement areas of their world, which is basically a ruin. There is nothing beautiful about their world. And she was expected to work in the oxygen pools. She has nightmares about it. So she's chosen to have this done to her rather than to spend the rest of her life in the oxygen pools in that horror. She has swapped one horror in essence for another, but the compensation that she has for it is, of course, it's set in Scotland in the book as well, and she has this world, this beauty, the stars and the sea and endless stretches of hillside and mountainside beauty that she would never have been able to see before. It wouldn't have been available for her to see because there is none of that on her world. Even the elite have nothing like that. So she's forced into this choice. She's forced into this role of hunting for vodsel. We are called vodsel in the book, and we are considered livestock. She's hunting livestock, essentially. She comes down from her planet very bitter and broken and unhappy, and she doesn't experience many emotions about the vodsel or about her job. She goes around experiencing pretty much numbness, apart from when she's looking out at the sea or when she's looking at the stars. And she hates the vodsel. She thinks they're stupid, dumb animals. She hates what she has to do. She's got this massive, great fake pair of tits on her that are supposed to be the way to entice them, because she doesn't look beautiful. She's no Scarlett Johanssen, you know. She's got overly long, spindly arms, and she's tiny and scrawny, and her eyes are too large, and her face is a strange shape, because she's basically been turned from 4 legs to 2. So she's this kind of this caricature of what a female vodsel looks like, and she's lost all her beauty, and she's lost all her humanity. They call themselves human beings, and she has in essence lost her humanity to do this job. And it's this interesting sort of exploration of her rediscovering her humanity. She has this point in the book. There is the almost rape as well, but it's like a hinge where everything flips for her. She's thrown back into her physicality in ways that she can't cope with. She's thrown back into seeing and feeling in ways that she can't cope with. And then the son of the man who owns the sort of vodsel farm comes down, and he's an activist, and he sees the vodsel as sentient beings who are suffering, and he tries to make her see that. And he also asks if he can see the beauty of the planet as she sees it. And during that sort of little moment, he implies to her that he still finds her beautiful despite what she sees as her mutilations and her ugliness. And it's not like this wonderful life-affirming thing where she discovers herself, and there's none of that. There is, for her, confusion and she no longer knows what she's there for, and she discovers that everything's changed and they want her to capture a Vodsel female. So at some point she can see her time down on our planet ending, and all she has is that. That's the only thing she has. There's no reversing what's happened to her, ever. The surgery can't be reversed. So the only beauty she has, the only hope of beauty that she has, is to remain on Earth, and she contemplates escaping. But where can she go? How far could she get? How would she survive? All these things go through her mind. There's this wonderful realism to it, and to the sort of denouement of it. And I think it's just a more interesting, multi-layered approach to those questions of personhood and sentience and autonomy than they chose for the movie, and that they had all those choices that they could make for the movie is quite extraordinary. And the way that the Vodsel, the male Vodsel, were dealt with in the book was quite brutal. I mean, when she captured them and took them back to the farm, they were castrated and had their tongues cut out and then fattened for slaughter. And you don't see them as just meat. After the trucker incident, she's got this view in her head of what Vodsel are, these violent base creatures, and a lot of the men that she encounters after that are nothing like that at all. And if she could just see into their heads, if she could just see into them, she would see that they were not like that. And there's that whole thing you have as the reader of seeing the difference between how she's viewing them and how they actually are, and how that would help her predicament. And I think that's very, very interesting. So much that they could have put in this movie, and instead they reduced it to a single note. Woman finds her autonomy and is punished for it. I don't know if you have problems with that, but I certainly have problems with that. And yeah, like I said, I'm perfectly aware of the problems of adaptation, but yeah, they could have done a lot better. A lot better. So, to wrap it up. The book is extremely interesting. I mean, everything it's been done before. We've had that whole alien viewpoint to try and make us see how we view animals on our planet and its, sentience in general. But it does very interesting and different things with that. And I would highly recommend you reading it, although it is a difficult read. It does take you aback quite a lot. And for me, that's because it takes a lot to take me aback. And I was like, whoa. So, good book. Highly recommend. Film? No. I mean, it's an interesting idea and it's an interesting notion, and if he'd done more of the sort of interesting multi-layered stuff from the book, then I would have highly recommended it. But as it is, no, he's reduced it to Scarlett Johansson's body and a woman being punished for finding herself, and I find that lazy and unnecessary. It's been done a million billion times before, and he's not doing anything new or interesting with it. He's just doing the same old shit. So I hope you found that interesting. Next Friday I'm going to be back to normal reading challenge stuff, but off the list still. I'm going to be talking about a book I read this week, and so I hope you'll tune in for that. Thank you for watching today. Bye bye.